Was this you in school? Or were you closer to this? Well, if you were like me, you were probably the bored one. School just wasn't relevant. Did it seem like no matter how hard you tried, you just couldn't do well? So in the end, you just stopped trying. Well, guess what? You're probably not alone. In fact, you're probably in the majority.
People take information in differently. Some people are listeners, some people are lookers, some people are movers. The technical terms are that they're auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. Then when we get information in, people do different things with it. Some people file it away very neatly.
That would not be me.
Others throw it in, toss it in amongst all kinds of other information, and make connections with it.
Ah, that's me.
When we put information back out again, we all do it differently again. Some people would like to do it with music. Some like to do it by using their whole body.
The Lord is mighty. The Lord can quench the evil flame.
Some would do it with language.
Se habla español.
Some with what's called mathological intelligence. That's being able to see patterns and connections with things. Some like to work alone, some like to work with other people.
It turns out there are at least 7 intelligences, though probably a lot more. There's mathological and linguistic intelligence.
Now those are the 2 that in the West we train and reward. All the smart kids that you can think of at school were good at language and good at maths and perhaps at science.
There's music.
Which is an intelligence, not just a nice talent you got instead of language.
Spatial intelligence.
To do with design and shape.
There's the intrapersonal.
Being able to draw on your own resources as you're learning.
And the interpersonal.
Being able to work with others to come to the product that you're trying to create.
And there's body kinesthetic.
Which means that you can use your entire body to find answers to things.
The educational system virtually worldwide is geared to the learner who thinks analytically or in a linear fashion. But for those who don't think that way, who think more in a spiral or a spider web, things connecting to other things, the school system doesn't really work very well because it doesn't offer very much in that shape. And if a student finds it difficult to learn sequentially, it becomes frustrating for him. Now think of your schooling. Did it gear any of its teaching towards anything other than the mathological or linguistic intelligences? Probably not, and as a result, many students, like myself, found school to be meaningless.
Mostly because they think in higher levels of thinking, the creative side.
Did you hear that? She said higher forms of thinking.
And those who are high in that creative side and high in the more orderly side as well, do fine. It's just these few who are strongly creative and not so orderly that really struggle.
Some of us never finished high school because of the hopelessness we felt when it came to academics. Well, now there's hope.
As a training consultant, what I do is I go to various YWAM bases, many YWAM bases, and teach. Usually I always teach the staff first about these issues. If they want to work with the students, the staff have to hear it first. Then if I work with the students, I give it to them at a different angle, obviously, teaching them about learning, how they best learn, why perhaps they've had some of the frustrations they've had.
Rosalie offers an equivalency program through the University of the Nations for people who want to go back to high school and get their diploma. Now, what the course doesn't teach you is the actual facts you would learn in high school, but what it does teach you is how you best learn. What you'll probably discover is that you're not as dumb as you thought you were. In fact, you're probably smarter than a lot of people. Well, like me, I was much smarter than everybody in my class. I just didn't test well, and I really didn't want to pass the test because if I did, then people would be jealous, you know, and things like that. And I have to keep proving myself. And actually, I'm a super genius, and I always knew I was, but nobody believed me, and I didn't want